With us now from Washington, D.C., Republican Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona. Congressman, what are you hoping to see during the president's second foreign trip?
Well, I'd like to see that he puts together some strong relationships that continue, and what I'd really like to see him is to start defining internationally what America's strategic national interest looks like. I think we've gone a long time without that being defined, and I think that's important. I think he needs to look to, because he's talked about bilateral trade relationships, I think he needs to look to solidify those. And as he's doing that, I think what's going to happen is our economy will continue to soar because of that.
Congressman, is it hard for the president to get a win in terms of his meeting with Vladimir Putin? Because any and all photographs that we get from that meeting, video, I mean, the competing cable networks are going to have people out analyzing this man's body language, and he's going to be roundly criticized, regardless of the kind of interaction that he has with Putin.
Well, I mean, his detractors are going to do exactly what you say. They're going to pick everything apart. Those videos are going to be used in anti-Trump campaigns for re-election, etc. But really, what he needs to do is he needs to set that aside and go forward and try to let Vladimir Putin know exactly what he's thinking, and that's really what we want. That's what I want. Is I want him to define that interest. And I mean, 4 years ago we would have been thrilled that a president was looking to try to have some kind of rapprochement with Russia. And right now, because President Trump is trying to move that way, people get freaked out and say, "Oh no." Now he also needs to be very careful, because we've got these investigations of Russia's participation in our election out there, and we need to look into that pretty seriously as well. But the reality is, I think we should be looking very carefully to see how that meeting goes.
Congressman, I do want to let's turn specifically to the threat from North Korea. The country's leader, Kim Jong-un, vowing this morning that his nation would, quote, demonstrate its mettle to the U.S. and never put its weapons programs up for negotiation. This is one day after it test launched its first intercontinental ballistic missile, one that potentially could reach Alaska in the United States, and it is from a mobile launch pad, which again raises the stakes in terms of us trying to tamp down this nuclear threat. So how do you think the U.S. should respond to this kind of provocation? Will diplomatic pressure work? Because, again, 3 prior administrations have failed. Well,
the problem that you have here is multifaceted. This is really complex because we have been feckless, like you say, for the last three administrations. We've let this happen. At the same time, President Trump has been relying on the Chinese to kind of put pressure on. Well, China has not really done that because they're concerned about a massive refugee influx from North Korea. So you've got that to deal with, and so when we rely on Xi Jinping, it becomes very, very difficult in some ways because they've got their own interests. And at the same time, you've got the South Korean leader talking about trying to increase economic activity, incorporate Olympic teams even. Both South Korea and China have said, look, we don't like THAAD being in South Korea. And so we have to continue to put the pressure on North Korea, but we also have to define our strategic interest and say, when the South Korean president is not taking the same kind of hard line that we're taking, maybe we need to reevaluate that interest and define it.
And Andrew Peak has a question for you, Congressman, but Andrew, I'll point out that it's not just China worried about a refugee problem, it's China profits from its relationship with North Korea. Trade has grown by 37% with North Korea in the first quarter of this year alone, tenfold in the last 15 years. China supplies the very missile material to North Korea that made this ICBM possible.
Absolutely. Congressman, you know, Russia and China together have offered a halt to North Korea's missile program and potentially its nuclear program if the U.S. stops carrying out large-scale military exercises with South Korea. Why wouldn't we take that deal?
Well, it is a deal that we should very seriously consider. There's no doubt, because it gets back to what I was saying, which is it our strategic national interest to be keeping 28,000 troops in South Korea, when their president has indicated that he would like to have a closer relationship with North Korea and try to at least ameliorate that situation. So the question is, why do we? Is it provocation on our part to be conducting widespread military exercises in that area? I mean, we certainly need to reconsider that.
Congressman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Happy 4th, Congressman Andy Biggs.
You too.